Fam, what is going on? Good morning. I appreciate you guys being here. Today is October 24th. Good morning. Could I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Today on the show, keys to the game against the Missouri Tigers. We're going to talk about the fact that Missouri is absolutely banged up. 14 guys listed on the injury report going into this game against the Crimson Tide. We're going to dive into the fact that there's a rumor going around right now that Jalen Milroe is hurt. He's injured. By the way, I'll save it for you. He's not listed on the official report, but we're going to talk about it anyways. We're going to look at the college football schedule. I'm going to take some calls today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being inside the comment box. Let me know where you guys are watching from, and I appreciate you guys joining me this morning on this beautiful October 24th. The weather is absolutely fantastic. Yo, North Alabama Storm Chase, I missed your email this morning. Send it to me, and we'll get it on the show on Friday for the weekend weather report. We've been a little off kilter, but I appreciate you continuing to hook me up with the weather report. Ever since I started doing the weather for that hurricane, I love those weather reports. So I appreciate it. And it is absolutely, the last couple of days here in Tuscaloosa have been amazing. I mean, if you like hot weather, I mean, it's been hot. It's been like in the 80s. All right. Keys to the game. Let's jump right into it. I appreciate you guys for being here this morning. These are my keys to the game. All right. And tomorrow we'll do score predictions, but like, this is what I want to see. Yo, and I'm not coming in like karate yesterday. That was crazy. Like those delayed. Yo, Rosalind's in Jamaica? Are you serious? That's where I need to be. Myron's up in St. Louis. What's up, man? Yeah, St. Louis, you got Missouri coming in? All right, this is what's up. All right, look, can this team just dominate from the jump? Like, I think going into this game, you know, now seeing all those guys that are injured for Missouri, even if those guys aren't, you got homecoming. You want a time to kind of refocus for these guys to really get going. Like, dominate, right? Dominate from the jump. Can they do that? And I think this could really be a big turning point for this team. There's still a lot of football left. And if you come out and you absolutely dominate, and what that means is create a sustaining drive from the jump, even a big play from the jump, a pick six, a big sack, a third and out, like whatever you got to do, like just dominate from the jump. And I think, like I've been saying this week, it doesn't take Alabama long to lose momentum, and it doesn't take them long to gain momentum. And I'm talking about overall in the country. Now, when you start to look about this and that and about, you know, where teams could be in the playoffs and all that kind of outside noise, it like if Alabama takes care of business against Missouri and they dominate, they'll be right. I promise you, they'll be right back in the mix. No one's going to forget about Alabama. And the great thing about this team is if they do dominate and they play 4 quarters of solid football, then they go into this next week with a bye week. So you kind of go in, you get a reset, and you come back out and you get ready for LSU in an absolutely pivotal game. LSU is taking on Texas A&M this Saturday. We're definitely going to talk about the world of college football. What's up, Eric D? I appreciate you, man. Yeah, and I think, you know, clearly everybody wants Alabama to fall off and they think that the ship is sinking and all this stuff. And, you know, losing 2 games before November, it's uncharacteristic, but the season's not over. There's still so much to play for. So let's see how these guys come out. And from the looks of it, and I get it, Tyler Booker does a lot of different interviews, but from what I heard, he is like absolutely dialed in, holding the guys accountable, you know, asking the most for them. So let's see what happens. Run the football in a heavy ground game. And why I say this, like heavy to me means like give Jalen Milroe 15 carries. I think his season high is like 12. Let's see what and he's good to go, by the way. I know he got rolled up on against Tennessee, but he's absolutely good to go. So run the football and establish some sort of a run game identity, which you really haven't done that season. There's been plays where Alabama's ripped off big plays for chunk yardage, but you know, I talked about this before, and I talked about this yesterday. I mean, here's the running chart for Jalen Milroe. Which one don't you like? To the outside right, 16 for 202, averaging 12.6. Do you not like up the middle? Alabama doesn't really run up the middle, but 8 for 44, that's 5.5. Any football coach takes 5 yards per carry. And what you not like the left? 5 for 51, right? Now, those run blocking grades, a little bit low, but I still think that you could run the football. I mean, Jam Miller, he's got to be one of the hungriest dudes in all of the world, right, in terms of wanting to be fed as a running back. So if you can run the football against Missouri, I think that really bodes well. And then I think that helps Jalen get into a rhythm too. Have a balanced attack and don't be so dependent on, hoping that he throws a 70-yard touchdown pass. Do we want that to happen? Yeah, do that maybe even on the first drive of the game. But there'd be nothing wrong with getting Jalen into a rhythm, right? Because right now it seems like he's hit this 2-game slump. Players dig out of slumps all the time. If you watch the NFL, my goodness, I mean, players go up, players go down, but get him back in some sort of a rhythm, and I think a running game could help him do that. So let's see what Nick Sheridan calls, and let's see how Jalen Milroe performs in this game. But I think a ground game, honestly, I think running the football effectively against Missouri would be a huge key to the game. I would love to see Jam get 15, 16 carries for like 140 yards in this game. Like, give him the load. And if Justin Haynes, if he's able to, contribute as well, feed him as well. This is probably one of the most critical things on the defense, and we know this. Nothing deep by Missouri's passing attack. Now, I'm sure you guys saw this, and we'll talk about it in just a second, but Missouri's quarterback, Brady Cook, who had an injury against Auburn, he's listed as doubtful going into this game against the Crimson Tide. With the ankle injury. So you're probably going to see the backup in this game, and you're also going to see the backup running back from Missouri. Missouri has 14 guys that are out. We'll talk about that in just a second. But even with this backup coming in, it doesn't seem to matter who the quarterback is this year so far. Alabama's defensive secondary has been beat over the top. And now with Bray, I know you guys are excited to see Bray. I am too. But the guys cannot get beat over the top. That has been a common theme in every single game that Alabama has played this season. Every game. So don't get beat over the top by the backup quarterback of Missouri. Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine? Don't get in some sort of a shootout with these guys. That's not it. And Malachi Moore, you know what? Despite the secondary woes, Malachi Moore is still grading out in coverage at like 84. So he's been doing a good job back there. I don't know if you missed the Hey Coach show last night. I watched it. I was waiting for some sort of an update or something like that. He said that there's a couple players that you could see in cross-training positions. Did you guys see this? Cross-training positions? What that means is players playing another position. Does that mean that, to me, the first thing that jumped off to my mind is maybe Jalen Mbakwe playing some safety. That's what came to my mind, all right? Or, I don't know, maybe Jalen Mbakwe playing like the Husky position, right? Because you have your starters. You have Xavier Brown, who's good. You have Damani Jackson. Keon Sabb's out, so that's an area that you need to fix. I started thinking about it. I was like, what other players could cross-train? Sometimes when they say cross-training, sometimes that means players from the offensive side going to the defensive side. That was weird. Max Tooney, I just saw that on AL.com. I just opened up Facebook. I was doing some, I post stuff to Facebook too, and I saw that. So Max is saying that last night, hey, coach, they only took one caller. And I noticed that they shut off all the comments inside, their comment box. I'm sure they are getting it from a million different angles, and I'm sure it's kind of like, I don't know if it's like my show. I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, Alabama football has – and the university, they have so much money, it's unbelievable. I can't even imagine, like they're a billion-dollar company. So I would imagine that they have somebody screening the calls, but it was interesting that they didn't take any calls other than one call. And I'd be curious to hear from Angel because he was going to call. Angel asked a tough question yesterday, or the last week. So maybe Angel will call in today. I'll take some calls at the back end of the show. What's up, Bentley? I appreciate you. Colin, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Thoughts on Bray Hubbard? I don't know. I mean, he's been targeted 5 times, and he's allowed 4 receptions. Those are facts. He has 20 tackles this season. Those are facts. He seems like he's you know what, KG? There has been times where there have been open chats for hey, coach. I've seen it before. He has 20 tackles. It does seem like when he plays, he is in different areas in terms of like he has kind of like a nose for the football, right? Oh, Scuba Steve is the university a company? 1,000,000%, especially with football. Yeah, I mean, think about how much money they. Yeah, I mean, the city revolves around the football team. Like the economy revolves around the football team. You know, one of the biggest things that realtors were scared about when Coach Saban left was the direct impact that was going to have on selling homes here, right? But in terms of coverage, I don't know. The other thing that I know about Bray Hubbard is that he's absolutely like, you look at the players in the secondary, I don't think anybody really, brings the wood. I think of like DeMarco Hellams, remember a couple years ago? He would absolutely like hit you. I don't think there's anybody in the secondary that'll hit you. I think those guys will strip the ball from you, but I don't think there's anybody that'll hit you. I think Bray Hubbard will hit you. So if that's kind of one of the things I'm looking for Bray Hubbard to like actually like bring the boom. But in terms of coverage, I don't know. We'll just have to see how he does. Just because I haven't seen too much of him in game situation. All I can talk about the stats. He's been targeted 5 times. He's allowed 4 receptions. That's all, that's what we know in coverage. Second half adjustments. This is probably one of the areas where I've been critical of the coaching staff as a whole, and I think a lot of people are too. In the second half, you were up 7-0, and this is just one example. I could go through many examples. You can talk about the lack of second half adjustments against Georgia, right? Like, sit on the ball against Georgia. Like, figure out a way to, like, close that game out. Against Tennessee, you're up 7-0. You come back out, Tennessee outscores you 24-10. Tennessee's able to run for almost 150 yards with their running back. So, the second half adjustments, can you do that? Let's say Alabama's up like 21-0 in this game. Can you finish out 42-0, right? Can you do that in this game? Can you make the adjustments on the offense and defense to stop a Missouri team that is literally limping into this game? Limping. I saw so much so, I don't know if we have Jarvis up inside the comment box, but I believe it was 13.5 to open, and now it's up to like 17 because their quarterback might not play. What's up, Ron? I see you inside the comment box. Good morning, Southern Red. Colin, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Mark, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here as well. John, what's up, man? The last thing on the keys of the game, like, don't sleep on Eli Drinkwitz. Don't sleep on this guy. I know he looks goofy. He kind of reminds me of the coach for the Dolphins, right? This guy's a good coach. Nobody really talks about him. He can punch above his belt. They have nothing to lose coming into this game. Nothing. They're the huge underdog. They're in a great position. Let's just go to Alabama. We're banged up. We got some transfers that are going to have to start in place of our starters. Let's see what we can do on the road against a team that they probably feel is vulnerable, right? William, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Yeah, I see you, man. What's up? This is the running chart right here for Jam Miller. That's why I want them to run the football. I like all these directions right here. Man, I like all these directions. Run to the outside, run to the left, run to the center. Oh, and thanks. I appreciate you guys being here. I literally, my schedule, my workouts and everything is really important to me. And I've been blessed with really good sleep this season. And, a lot of it is because of workouts. And I stayed so busy last night. I had a really tough night. I didn't sleep like much at all. So I'm going to fight through the show. And I probably just need to chill for a little while because there's a lot, of energy that goes into it. So sometimes I need to even myself kind of like step back a little bit because it's a lot. Here's the Alabama injury report right here. You have Keon Sabb, Red Morgan, Caden Jones is the inside linebacker. Sabb and Jones are the only players that are listed as out. You have Red Morgan, who's a Husky position player. He is probable for this game, which is, you need him to come through. You have a lot of freshmen back there in the secondary, or at least, maybe a handful of them. But Red Morgan has been one of those ones that we've seen at the Husky position along with Devontae Smith. Look at this. This is crazy right here. You have Patriot Life. What's up, man? See you inside the comment box. Missouri is absolutely banged up. So every single night up until the game, the SEC releases the availability chart, right? Without, doubtful, questionable, probable. 3 guys for Alabama. For Missouri, look at this. I counted this up. I think it's 14 guys. So I think that's their third string quarterback, Sam Horn. He's out. Remember Khalil Jacobs? He's on here somewhere. He's out as well. Yeah, he was a transfer. I thought Alabama was going to get him at one point. But I guess most notable will probably be Nate Newell, who's a running back, their starter. I think it was Pete Thamel said that he's out. I mean, he's ran for 500 yards. So their number one running back is out. Their number two running back is like 220 pounds. So I'd imagine he's pretty tough to bring down. He ran for like 40 yards against Auburn last week. And then Brady Cook, who's our quarterback, who's actually been pretty good. We've talked about him this season. He will be out as well. So in for if Brady Cook can't go, and again, he's listed as doubtful, then you're going to have Drew Pine step in, right? I was looking up some detail of him. He did okay against Auburn last week. He's a graduate student. He was the number one player out of Connecticut, but other than that, not a lot of detail. He's a transfer in, too. So, Patriot Live, I appreciate you with the 15 spot, man. Let's get back on track this weekend. Yeah, absolutely a great opportunity to get back and get some momentum. What I love about where this game is, too, is the fact that this game is right before an open week. So, that's why if you play really well in this game, you just go into the bye week and you carry that momentum for literally a whole nother week. You get healthy. You have 2 weeks to prep for LSU, and you take it to the Tigers in what will be a monster game for Alabama. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That game makes me, me, I'm very optimistic about every single game Alabama plays, and I rarely pick against Alabama, rarely. Right now, I would imagine, if I had to pick today, I would pick LSU to beat Alabama, which is hard for me to say because I never pick against Alabama. Never. So let's just see what they can do against LSU. But the quarterback situation at LSU makes me really nervous just because about the secondary concerns over here. Bama Red saying that Missouri has a pregame fake injury list, and that may very well be the case too. A lot of these guys, it's just questionable or doubtful. Yeah, I know, Eric, you're exactly right. 1,000,000%. Eric is saying, Kyle, if we win this game, the narrative will be that Alabama beat up on, young Missouri. That's why I would just focus on 4 quarters of football and just take care of business. In terms of Brady Cook, right now he's listed as doubtful. Now, last week against Auburn, he hurt his ankle, had to go out, got like a CT scan, came back in and led his team to beat Auburn. So I guess the injury maybe is a little bit more severe, but at this point we don't know. Linda's saying don't jinx him. No, I'm trying not to, Linda. What's up? Good morning to you. I appreciate you being here. Jamal, what's up, man? All right, so look, I'm sure let me ask you this, okay? I'm not the only one coming up with this. I'm sure that you've seen it. Let me ask you real quick before we get into this. So there is a rumor going around right now that Jalen Milroe is injured. Have you heard of a rumor or seen things that Jalen might be injured or hurt? Yes or no? Yes if you've seen it, no if you haven't. Have you heard or seen something about Jalen Milroe being injured? Yes inside the comment box. Y, N for no. What's up, Bobby Bowers? I appreciate it. All right, Brandon saying no. Redfish Stalkers, yes. So it's kind of like yes and no. So perfect time to talk about this because, we talk about things as it happens. We do facts. We do opinions. Rarely do we hit on rumors, but this is something that has been kind of jumping up, okay? I know, Big Rez, I saw that too. That it looks like he was limping. Baker's saying no, just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so speculation, okay? So what is kind of out there right now is that the rumors he's injured. I saw something too on social media. It was like a pregame where it looked like he was limping. I heard that it was a shoulder. Now, the facts that we can go off of are these two things right here, these two bottom points. Number one, Coach Kalen DeBoer was asked this week by Charlie Potter of On3 if Jalen Milroe was injured. Now, Coach Kalen DeBoer, he didn't necessarily say yes or no. He just said at this point in the season, players that play this amount of snaps, they're all kind of banged up. But he didn't really say yes or no. What we do know about Jalen, along with that, is the dude is like his wear and tear is through the roof. The guy takes care of himself like nobody else. Last year was sacked 44 times and never sweated it, right? Antonio, what's up, man? See you inside the comment box. Appreciate you being here too. Angel, what's up, man? Trainwreck in here as well. Trainwreck brings up a really good point. He's hurt, not injured. That could very well be the case. So that kind of going with Coach Jalen DeBoer. But the most important thing is he's not listed on the SEC availability report as being injured. So you go off that, and I think that puts kind of that rumor to bed right now, right? Things could change going closer to the game, but like we go off the facts. There's the rumor out there and all the speculation, but he's not listed as injured, and Coach Jalen DeBoer didn't say he was injured or not. So that's kind of, where things stand in terms of like an injury. I would imagine he might be like dinged up. I mean, shoot, he's been sacked, 9 times in the last 3 games or something like that? He's taken some hits, and they do run him a lot, right? But Jalen Milroe is not like you or I. Like, the dude is a world-class athlete. And Cyber brings up a good point. But if he is hurt or if he is injured, and if he's not 100%, that brings to the point, do you play somebody else? So we kind of go to the last 2 games of Jalen Milroe. I've showed a couple of these slides, and you look at these last 2 games. I'm calling it kind of a slump. Because you look at, Georgia, Vandy playing at such a high level. In the last 2 games, you start to see it kind of trickle downward. Especially against Tennessee, against a really good defense. I still don't understand like the 45 passing attempts. But I also look to those sacks, man. I'm not going to let the offensive line off. You get sacked 9 times in the last 3 games. But then I also go back to the fact that when I watched the game against Tennessee, and if you've watched a rewatch, how many clean pockets did Jalen Milroe have? A ton. Nicholas is saying he saw him getting up really slow. Me too. You know who else has been getting hit? You know who else is tough? We haven't talked about this kid's toughness. Ryan Williams. I've seen Ryan Williams get absolutely tagged the last 2 games. Tagged. Do you see this? Against South Carolina on the right side, he got hit in the back. He got crushed. And then against Tennessee, I thought he had whiplash. He got hit so hard in the back again. But you know what? He's jumped right back up every single time. The guy is tough. I think we talk about Ryan. I saw Ryan Williams last night. What a dude, too. He just, he handles himself. He's very mature for being in the limelight where he's at. I enjoyed seeing him last night on the Hey Coach. Linda brings up a really good point. Tennessee has like the top 5 defense. I think it was number 2 when Alabama played them. And Missouri has the number 9 defense. Dang, Big Rez, I didn't see that he was bleeding. I must have missed that. But Rocketown, you've seen, Ryan Williams have absolutely been crushed. We went over this. This is the passing chart against Tennessee. I'll show it just one more time. This is not characteristic for the Jalen Milroe that we're accustomed to, right? And a lot of that is, he was sacked. He was inaccurate. Tennessee's defense was good. You mix all those 3 ingredients, you're not going to have a good game, period, right? Here is grades clearly at the bottom. That's you look to Georgia, Vanderbilt, you look to South Carolina, Tennessee. I mean, those are the numbers. We know that Ty Simpson is the backup. So far this year, we saw him against Western Kentucky. And when I think to Ty Simpson, I think back to the growth that we saw actually last year starting against Kentucky. When he came in against Kentucky, and he did a really good job. I thought facilitating the offense in his short time, as the quarterback. Against Western Kentucky, looked pretty good. 5 of 9, 66 yards. Remember, Ty can move around the football as well, like in terms of running. He didn't play against South Florida, and then we saw him against Wisconsin. You know what? Against Wisconsin, he had a pretty good drive. I don't know if he led 2 series or 3. But he came in and moved the football. He connected with Caleb Odom a couple times. And on the season is 9 of 14 for 96 yards, 64%, and he's been sacked one time. I think he got absolutely tagged too, right? Didn't he get sacked? I think whenever he's called on, whenever he gets an opportunity, I think he'll be able to lead Alabama's offense. And there's another handful of people that think that he's not ready. He might not be. Might just need like one season. All it takes is one season when you're the quarterback here to go as far as possible. You look at Mac Jones. That's a great example. Just took one season. Guy came up here and sliced. Nobody talks about Mac Jones that much, really. Just I think because of there's been so many talented quarterbacks to roll through here over the last, 6 seasons. But, man, Mac Jones came here and just sliced everybody up. But of course, he has the weapons, too. So, anyways, if Ty Simpson gets the opportunity, whatever. But Jalen just needs to dig out of this slump right now that he's in. I think we can all agree on that. And hard to do, too, when the offensive line clearly – I'm going down with the ship on this. The right side of Alabama's offensive line scares me to death, and I think there's a gigantic problem, and I don't think they can fix it. I really don't. I mean, who are you going to put in? Wilcom Formby? I don't know what's going on with Jaden Roberts, but he's not trending. I think he might be a guy who's kind of hurt. The guy had surgery before the first game. But look at that. These are pass blocking grades from Pro Football Focus. That's terrifying. And if I have access to this information, can you imagine what, opposing defenses know? I'm just a guy on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's scary. Let's look at the college football slate real quick, and then I'll take some calls on the back end too. All right, here's the SEC. I underlined the teams that I'm taking. You got Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Clearly, I'm taking Ole Miss in that game. Rebels favored by 20. Oklahoma just fired their offensive coordinator. Arkansas taking on Mississippi State. I think Sam Pittman goes to Stark Vegas, pulls out a dub. They're only favored by 7.5. That could be interesting to watch in terms of Mississippi State getting their first win in the SEC. Bama against Missouri. You know what? I'll take them by 14 points. I know that's dangerous right now, but I think they beat them. I think they'll handle business. There I go, being optimistic again, right? Texas and Vanderbilt, I'm going to be watching that game. I don't know what the score will be. I don't know what's going to be happening in that game, but I'm going to have that game kind of on the side. It's weird that it's at, just after the Alabama game. Maybe I won't be able to watch that game, but I'll be bringing you scores as we watch during the watch-along. I'm definitely watching the LSU and Texas A&M game. Who do we want to win in this game? Do we want Texas A&M to win or LSU? They're each undefeated. I think we want – I have the scenarios. I think we want LSU to win. I can't remember. Either way, one of the team is going to drop, which is great because they're undefeated each in the SEC. Kentucky and Auburn, I would imagine, Kentucky wins this game. They're only favored by 2.5. Auburn will probably be leading this game by, in the fourth quarter, and Kentucky will come back and win. So Brandon's saying Texas A&M, Bama Mike saying Texas A&M, Jason's saying LSU, Austin saying LSU. Literally means like if Vandy beats Texas the whole season. If Vandy, you know what will happen? If Vandy beats Texas, they'll tear down the goalposts again, and they will take it through Broadway and dump it in the river again. Why wouldn't they? Did you see that? I saw this Garth Brooks bought a piece of the goalpost from Vanderbilt beating Alabama. Did you see this? He bought a piece of it. All right, here's the Big 12. BYU, we're watching BYU because they're undefeated. Hey, this could be interesting. Gus Malzahn, you think he's got some secret sauce for them? Nothing else really stands out to me. I guess I underline Colorado. It's just an interesting story to continue to follow. They are 5-2 right now. They'd get to 6-2 if they could beat Cincinnati. I'd imagine they do that. This is the Big Ten. No, I'm sorry. This is the ACC. My bad. You know what? This game tonight, I'm going to watch this game for sure. Syracuse and Pittsburgh, you got former Alabama quarterback Eli Holsting. Yo, he's been doing a really good job. He has Pittsburgh ranked number 19. Pitt's favored by 5. But Syracuse is good. Syracuse they're a pretty good football team. I can't wait to see Syracuse and Miami at the back end of the season. But Pitt and Syracuse tonight. So in case you need something to watch tonight, Pittsburgh and Syracuse your game. On Friday night football, you got Louisville taking on Bill O'Brien in Boston College. And then, man, ACC's just. And then you have Miami taking on Florida State. So Miami will win another game. They're favored by 21. Florida State, man, remember when it was just a year ago that Florida State was undefeated? We don't even troll Florida State anymore. We can't even have meltdowns anymore because they've only won one game. Who would have thought in the world that Florida State would be 1-7 or whatever they are? That is crazy. It would be nice to see Florida State beat Miami, though. That we might have to have like another. We would have a meltdown, but for Miami. Here's Big Ten. Rutgers and USC. USC's been, man. I guess they've been disappointing after that first game. I thought I drank a bunch of that USC Kool-Aid, and it just the same thing, man. Nebraska and Ohio State, Washington and Indiana. So Indiana, you've been following this, right? Indiana's undefeated as well, but their quarterback, who's been doing a great job, he's injured for this game. Still, I think the Hoosiers advanced. Some people have them as a playoff team. Playoffs? Illinois and Oregon, that's a ranked game. Oregon is favored by 21. Penn State taking on Wisconsin, and Michigan State and Michigan. Michigan's not even ranked. That's wild. They just won the championship last year. All right, so I'll go ahead and take some calls if you want to call in. Alabama taking on Missouri. Crimson Tide 5-2, Missouri 6-1. Brady Cook is doubtful. That's our quarterback. And Nate Noel is also out for this game. So if you want to call in, hit me up, 973. Let's start it. We got Chris from New Jersey. Chris, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in. Welcome to the show.
Kyle, happy Thursday, brother.
What's up, man?
Well, listen, I want to address a little housekeeping. So some troll in the chat said that my calls are too long-winded. So listen, I'm from Kyle. I'm from New Jersey. Tell me to shut up, Kyle. If I'm too long. Okay, brother. This is, why I'm calling for when I'm going to be quick. I promise. Even to the trolls, I promise I'll be quick. So, look, I know that I've given you a hard time about all these percentages and the win percentage and but listen, they did a whole percentage on Bama with the playoffs on ESPN.
Yeah.
And so they have, and so ready for this. Here's my motto for the rest of the season. I hope I keep it each week. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Win out and in. That's my motto. I've been saying it. No, I'm not giving you any score prediction. All I care about is win, baby, win. Now, and they said, listen to this, Kyle. So 68% chance if Bama wins out to host the first playoff game. So to have a home opener in the playoffs. It's like it's way in the 90s is if we win out. So this is at this point of the season, everything else is conjecture. I hope we keep on winning, and then so we don't have to go into negative town. But 68% chance if we win out that we host the first playoff game. So it's a home game in Bryant-Denny. So that's why I'm calling. Everybody stay positive. We just got to win out. I know it's a feat, but listen, win out and in. That's my motto for the rest of the season, or at least the rest of this week. I'm going to be brief, my friend Kyle. So listen, keep up the great work. Oh, and by the way, don't you notice? I agree what you said about Ryan Williams. He's taking these hits, but you notice like he looks every week. He looks a little bigger. Like they're definitely feeding him, and he's definitely pounding the weights. So because you're right, he's taking some big hits. So
Yeah,
all right, Kyle. Listen, happy Thursday. Thanks, great show. Thanks for everything you do. My best to you. My best to the undefeated. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you. Chris from New Jersey, batting off, lead off. Good call. 678, you're up.
Hello?
Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
My name is Sean Wiley. I'm calling in because I've been watching y'all and everything like that, and I love everything what y'all doing, but we gotta get this team up, like for real. We only got like 98% chance to win, and every team got 50 shot to win in national championship. But we gotta stop doing all this, get on TikTok and stuff like that.
Mm.
I mean, we gotta get on the Roman Empire, like saving the empire and everything like that. We gotta keep on rolling. And to me, like I keep trying to say to everybody, y'all stop bringing negativity. Just start bringing positivity. And to me, I love Bama and stuff like that, but we gotta stick to our game.
Let me ask you, Sean, before I move to the next caller, would you like to see more of a established running game by Alabama's offense?
To me, I love to see more of a running game, but I'm a balanced type of guy because when you get balance on both sides, like balance on defense,
Yeah.
but you got to start with running first. You got to start with offense. You got to start with defense. But I love seeing Kevin DeBoer stop calling gadget plays and just call normal plays like Tommy Reed did last year and just establish the run game first. And we already got passing. We already established passing. We saw the wide receivers what they can do. We already saw that. We saw it last year. We've seen this many years. So we just need to establish the running game, the most part. So that way we can keep on opening gaps and fill in them and then run for like 30, 40 yards.
I appreciate the call, Sean. Thank you so much for calling in, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. Good call from Sean. Call line is open, 205-850-1994. Yeah, I was, that's kind of going back to my keys of the game. I think that I would like to see Alabama, utilize at some point. Maybe it'll happen later on in the season. Maybe it happens against like LSU. Maybe it doesn't happen at all. I would imagine that it does, but Alabama running the football. Just because I think that, when you have a running back as talented as Jam Miller, I think right now he's being underutilized. And you know what? A lot of people have been critical of Justice Haynes, saying that he's not running hard enough, that he's looked, like he hasn't put his will into somebody. Well, you can't really say that against Jam Miller. I think the only criticism against Jam Miller is the fact that he just doesn't get the football enough. 541, you're up next. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from? I can't hear you. Call back.
Yes. This is Bryant Dawkins. Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Who? Let's start again.
Oh,
who am
yeah.
Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Yeah. So I'm Bryant Dawkins, originally from Mobile.
Okay.
But I'm living out here in Salem, Oregon.
Oh, wow.
And close to the Ducks, but lifelong Alabama fan here. And boy, it's been kind of tough to see him struggle here this year, but I'll tell you what, I'm really optimistic about Kalen DeBoer. I'm optimistic about his team, his coaches. I know that they've had a rough patch here, but I think that's kind of expected. Or at least I think the fans should expect that, especially losing so many athletes to the portal. 25 talented kids hitting the road from a team is a lot, and I know that Alabama's probably not alone in that. But hanging on to any kind of continuity there would have been almost really impossible to do.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, I mean, I'm just, I'm happy to see these guys playing. I do think Milroe got hurt in the South Carolina game. I think he got a big shot because he was really uncharacteristic. I think it might be reasonable to say that Milroe really improved in many aspects of his game. I think he's technically not as sound as he needs to be really successful in NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But I think from last year to this year, I think Milroe has really gained a lot, reading more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of the Georgia game and even the beginning of the South Carolina game, he looked pretty sharp. But obviously last week, Milroe really struggled, and he didn't look like himself. And it was kind of tough to see, sure enough.
Yeah, and I think on with Brian calling out of Salem by way of Mobile, Alabama, is you kind of look to how the game has changed very quickly in terms of kind of like this NFL light and the different defenses that you face within the SEC. For example, last week you played the number 2 defense in the country. Now you're playing the number 9 defense in the country. And if you kind of model that after the NFL and how the quarterbacks fare week to week, quarterbacks are going to have their games where they're just absolutely on point, and they're going to have games where they struggle because of different parameters. I think that's kind of what you're seeing. You look to his play in SEC play, Vanderbilt, Georgia, those games had people screaming that he was going to win the Heisman, that he was a first-round draft pick. And these last 2 games, it's been, anything but that. I think we're just seeing kind of a cosmic shift in college football. Would you agree with that college football just changed almost over these last 2 seasons to where there's a lot more parity? Because for the people out there, they're like, oh, you lost to Vanderbilt or Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. It's not the same Vanderbilt team anymore. Like Vanderbilt could very well play Texas down to the wire this week here in Nash Vegas. Your thoughts, Brian?
Yeah, so, I'm in healthcare, but I'm also a business guy. Cal, this is actually, look at it from a business standpoint. Football has been a massive generator of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can look at the portal and you can say guys are coming in, but you're looking at universities, you're looking at these different colleges are now investing hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars on their football program. So yes, you're going to see more parity in these universities. And I'm obviously Roll Tide. I don't give a piss, but nothing but Roll Tide, right? But I'm actually happy for schools like Vandy. I'm happy to see, some of these unknown individuals, unknown coaches that come up and do a really good job preparing kids to compete at this high level. And I think the caller before me and everybody's wanting a more solid run game from Alabama. And I would want that, but I think at the end of the day, we really want to see ball control, whether that's short passes, whether that's winging things out, screens. Because, Alabama's got a lot of talent. I think it's just – I'm not sure there might not be something going on in the locker room, too. It just doesn't seem like – I think we got a really good couple of quarters where these guys played together when they really hit Georgia in the nose. Yeah, as far as parity across the country and football teams, absolutely, no question. Portal did that. I think the investment in the universities, seeing the revenue that can be generated from football and sports, and the changes in the format of the college playoffs. I mean, I think all of these things really brings a heightened awareness of what the sport is and what it can be. Absolutely, Kyle.
All right. Thanks for the call, Brian. I appreciate it, man. All right. Good call.
I appreciate your show, Kyle. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right.
See you. Bye.
Brian, out in Oregon, we go to 818. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
My name is Kendrell from Los Angeles.
Kendrell, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling from Los Angeles, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I just want to give everybody a little encouragement, if you will. I feel when DeBoer took over, got his own coaching staff and whatnot, that changed the whole defensive scheme and whatnot, offensive scheme. We're experiencing growing pains, for one, with the team, young team, new scheme, whatnot. But I feel also the coaches are also learning SEC football. You know, the pace of the game.
Mm.
I know Coach KD was in Oregon, was very successful and whatnot, but still the Pac-12 at that time and SEC football, SEC defenses are completely different.
Yeah.
And I feel that next season coming out, that Kalen DeBoer will have a better mindset of how to attack these defenses. But not only that, but not have such quick striking offenses, to have more balance, to let your defense rest and know how to close out games and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, these growing pains will, taper off, will diminish. And we just got to, like Saban said, be supportive, and help and be fans, be real Clemson Tide fans. Win, lose, or draw, roll Tide, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough to see him play like this, but we're just used to a standard that will be unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
We got to accept that. There is no other Saban out there. Not Kirby Smart, the closest thing, but not even Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
So we gotta just go through these growing pains, and we got the talent. We got a good recruiting class coming in, and I just feel we just gotta just be patient with the team, with the coaches, and see how KD brings his own spin to it. His own kind of quarterback, his own kind of receivers, X, Y, and Z. A lot of these players are still Saban's players. Maybe these players don't work in his kind of scheme that he's used to. So, but I feel we'll get it together, and I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. But most importantly, what will happen in the off season. So, just wanted to call in and just some encouragement for the team. Roll Tide. Thanks for having me, Carl.
All right, take it easy, Kendra. Kendra calling out from Los Angeles. I appreciate the call. We got a 360 coming up next. Tomorrow is my score prediction show. So every single Friday, I have a score prediction show, and I ask for score predictions and MVP. So I'll be taking calls again tomorrow. During the actual game, I do a Roll Tide watch along. So I watch the game with you. I don't broadcast the game, but I do give observations. We do point out stats, post-game show, all that stuff. So that'll be starting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Tomorrow right here on our YouTube channel. We also broadcast news as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube, different interviews from the University of Alabama. And, of course, we have a really big Facebook channel, Alabama Crimson Tide on Facebook. So other ways to interact, we post, basically what you see from all your other Alabama football channels. So we go back to the phone lines and we take a 360. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, man, this is Jeff from Seattle, man.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, man?
Dude, looks like you got the West Coast calling in this morning, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what's up. All right. Yeah, we went from Oregon down to Los Angeles, and now we're shooting back up to Seattle. So what's up, man? Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Well, I definitely appreciate it, man. I've been trying to call in a couple times here, but I called in right after the news of Kalen DeBoer going out there and kind of give you guys a little perspective. I think you guys are seeing kind of what I was laying down. I mean, great coach. I do feel like he plays it. And you're going to get used to you need some heart medicine. Okay. A lot of games that shouldn't be close are going to be close. It just seems like he has that killer instinct, but he plays with his food a little too much. You know what I mean? He just needs to go in for it and just get him done early and often. But just kind of wanted to make sure you guys losing Ryan Grubb was a big piece of that offense. And I would say a lot of the identity of Kalen DeBoer, obviously it is his offense, but Ryan Grubb was the mastermind. Nick Sheridan, I always had question marks on him for the offensive side. I do feel like the one thing that if you ask anybody in the Seattle media or who followed the Washington Huskies the last 2 years under Kalen DeBoer, it's always a players-led team. I think he's going to have to kind of change that approach at Alabama. With the NIL, with the egos, with just the kind of talent and, the culture that, Nick Saban instilled there.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to kind of see how that works now looking from the outside in. But, one thing to keep in mind, last year, obviously we we lost one game, national championship, but 10 games last year were won, 10 points or less. So get used to tight games. Games you guys should not even, you're going to win games, convincingly, or maybe, again, the Georgia game, like, hey, that could have gone either way, but the games against Vandy, the games against Tennessee, I mean, you put who was that team early on in the season that gave you guys a little scare there for a couple quarters?
South Florida.
Yeah, man. Like, come on. Yeah. Trust me. Here, Arizona State, Stanford, Oregon State. I mean, some of these came down to the last darn drive. Yeah. And teams who should not even be in the same category talent-wise, scheme-wise, personnel-wise. Like, but yes, man, you guys will be fine. I think the craziest thing, I think two callers ago made a good point, man. College football is getting more competitive.
Yeah.
I hope he's ready, and I know he is, but yeah, I mean, it's the Jones, everybody's getting better. And at this new college football format, I mean, you can still take 2 L's and, get yourself in there and make a good, healthy run. So I think the days of going undefeated, losing one game, and maybe your season's over, I think is long gone. So I think you guys are in a good position. So just keep the faith. I think Kalen DeBoer will get it figured out for you guys. He does need to make some changes defensively. And I just hope, Milroe, I hope he's okay. And I just hope he gets that locker room figured out for sure.
All right, man. I appreciate the call from Seattle, Jeff. Thank you so much. Call again sometime, man. Appreciate it. Sir. All right, see ya.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got a 256 and a 321. That's one of the biggest things. I mean, you can point to a bunch of different places, but Jeff brought up a really interesting point. He said that, from his knowledge and following Coach Kalen DeBoer out on the West Coast, that he always had player-led teams. And I think Coach Saban, it was like his way. And I think that's part of the biggest culture shift. Is I saw a video last night of Jalen Milroe. He was kind of giving a facility of a tour of the facilities, and he was saying, when Coach Saban came into the meeting, it just like dead silence. And with Coach Kalen DeBoer, it's a little bit more lax. So different styles. I showed that graphic just recently of the games in close proximity. He's won a majority of those games, but man, I just the SEC is different, and now with the parity, I mean, you look at this statistic too. How long is it going to take you to get used to the SEC? All right, you look at just the SEC numbers right here: 519 against Georgia, 418. This graphic is concerning. 374 against South Carolina, and then against Tennessee. Curious to see what a banged up Missouri is held to this Saturday. We go back to the phone lines with the 256. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Todd from Alabama.
Did you say Todd?
Yeah.
All right, Todd.
Hey, listen.
Good morning.
All I wanted to say was, I know you're a Johnny-come-lately and you weren't born into this, but I love watching your show because you understand Alabama football. And the conversations everybody else is having, that's what needs to be done. I'm hanging up.
All right. Thanks, Todd. All right. Todd with the short and sweet call. Yeah, I think, when you, like, from me perspective, like, I came in 2016. So all I'm used to is a certain way, and that is Coach Saban. I didn't cover the team before him. I didn't cover him when Coach Saban started, but I saw a lengthy amount of Coach Saban, and I listened enough to Coach Saban, and I think, honestly, a lot of that spilled into my brain. The way I operate my own business, the way I run my life personally. Honestly, it was like having a coach that was like coaching you up from like life. Like I literally was like taking notes on what Coach Saban would say, especially in his like opening messages. So that's kind of the standard that I'm accustomed to. And it is a culture shift even for me, seeing, different interviews and the way that the assistants get to talk and stuff like that. So it's always different. this year, kind of watching the team. And I am a person that feels that there needs to be like a strict hierarchy. I feel that life works better that way. But we'll see how they can dig out of this game against Missouri. All right, 3-2-1, you're up next. Hey, good morning. You're online with Kyle Henderson. Who am I online with, and where are you calling in from?
Yeah, I'm from Cocoa, Florida. My name's Cameron. I only had two things. One, us as fans, we need to be more positive. I heard someone calling yesterday how they're a lifelong fan, and then he sat there and called the team trash. We were playing like trash. We were trash. It was just like I was just like, how do you call your team trash?
Mm.
It is a new chemistry. And it leads me to my next point, which is college football has changed.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer what we grew up with. It's no longer what we are used to. It's changed from NIL deals to the transfer portals to everything. And then look at Alabama. Not only did we just go through an entire new change with NIL and transfer, we also have a new coach and freshman players, fresh blood. Everything is new. And right now, DeBoer has to sit here and mix this kettle with all this stuff inside of it and figure it out.
Mm.
It's all new. We have to, sit here and be positive. We have to sit here, and hope he can get the job done. It's the first season. It's like we are spoiled as a team. We are so spoiled because we lose a game. We're like, no, we don't lose. We don't. It's new. It is a new world. It is new football. It is not what we grew up with, and we have to open our hearts and, have faith. That's all we can do is have faith because none of us are playing and none of us are coaching.
Mm.
We're fans. And that's what I was calling on about. Is like we have to be positive and we have to have faith. Just give them a chance, open up your minds, and just pray for the best.
Hey, Cam, where's I appreciate the call, man. Where's Cocoa, Florida, and were you impacted by any of the storms?
So Cocoa is just west of Cocoa Beach. You got Cocoa Beach, you got Merritt Island, and then you got Cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
It's Brevard County area, just east of Orlando.
Oh, okay.
I myself was not, directly impacted. I had a couple of trees snap and whatnot, but overall, my area wasn't impacted. My brother and sister were a little impacted because they live in the Winter Haven area.
Yeah.
And then I'm still waiting for word from some of my friends that I served in the Marine Corps with that were in the Tampa area. I haven't heard from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've driven over there, took a couple days off work trying to find them. There was no one in their house. There's no coroner reports or anything else.
Wow.
I can't get a hold of them via phone. It goes right to voicemail.
Jeez.
They're smart, and if anything happened, they probably just left their phones or whatever happened. But I've talked with their moms, and obviously they're worried, but they just said, hey, when they reach out, they'll reach out.
Wow.
I was like, all right. But
crazy.
Nah, I wasn't directly impacted, but people in Tampa and surrounding areas,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't as bad as they said it was going to be, but it was still drastically bad. It was not Helene though.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Cam. Thanks for calling in this morning, man. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, no doubt. Cam out in Cocoa. All right, 251. Let's do it. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, it's Matt from Mobile. How you doing, Kyle?
Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in, and welcome to the show, man.
I was glad to make your show this morning. Been listening, and I've had kind of a change of heart on Kalen DeBoer.
Okay.
I got on and looked at the 2007 Alabama roster for Alabama, and you've got Greg McElroy, Terry Grant, Glenn Coffey, Roy Upchurch, DJ Hall, Matt Caddell, Mike McCoy, Darius Hanks, Preston Dial, and Saban lost 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Saban lost 6 games.
Yep.
With a roster like that.
Wow.
And we're sitting here tearing Kalen DeBoer a new butthole.
Mm-hmm.
And treating him like absolute dog crap.
Mm-hmm.
And he got and he got I mean, I don't believe that he doesn't hear some of this stuff. You know, and if I was Kalen DeBoer and I was coaching Alabama, I would be kind of disheartened by some of the things that I've heard, you know, but I'm sure he was expecting it, you know. But DeBoer, and another thing, you know, so if it was just like another Nick Saban protege coming in, okay, so it's like Nick Saban, you know, 2.0, same defense, same offense,
mm-hmm.
and it's just somebody just sweeping in and continuing what Nick Saban did, that's one thing. But the whole team's having to learn an entirely new offense, an entirely new defense, and they have a lot of pressure on them. And what I feel like is happening is they have so many plays, and they're doing all these trick plays because, you know, they're trying everything they can do to win. I really believe that they're trying hard. They just have way too much. The learning curve is way too much.
Yeah.
That they can't execute it because they haven't had enough time in the system, and that's why I think you're seeing all the penalties. Is you get a lot of penalties when you're confused about what's going on, and I think they're confused about what's going on because they don't know the system yet. It's got to be like the back of their hand. It's got to be like second nature, you know, and that might take a little while, you know. So that's all I got.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Matt. Thank you so much for the call, man. I appreciate it.
You, brother.
Yep, take it easy. All right. I'll take a couple more calls. We got a 250 coming in next. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Joe from Lincoln, Alabama.
Hey, Joe. What's up, man? Good morning to you.
What's up? Hey, man, I want you to take a take on this. I was thinking about something.
Okay.
I noticed with Washington when DeBoer was there, with Michael Penix, you know, he was like a gunslinger. You know, he was really good at throwing.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized with this offense now, I realized they throw the ball a lot. And I was just thinking, like, you know, that was how DeBoer was with Michael Penix. They threw the ball a lot. And I want you to take a take on this. With Milroe, love him, good athlete, but I just feel like with his game style, he's more of his effect against defense is running and the deep ball. But if the team take away the deep ball, he's not really the best at the short passes. And I just feel like with DeBoer, how they go about it, I just realized with Michael Penix when I used to watch him in Washington,
mm-hmm.
He was a gunslinger. He could throw the ball deep, short, whatever, and he had receivers. So we do too. But I just feel like that's not really much of Milroe's style.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to win the game, I just feel like with them, relying on him on the throwing, I just don't feel like we can probably, in my opinion, I don't know if we can win the game with him just throwing the ball wise because that's not his best strength. But if you take the deep ball away from him, you know he's not the best short pass or mid range passes. Well, what's your take on that?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Joe. Joe's calling in from Lincoln, Alabama. You know, I've looked at the Pro Football Focus stats. That's what I always refer to, and I could probably do a quick job of bringing them up on this other side. And what it does is it allows us to see a passing tree of Jalen Milroe. And that whole like myth about him not being a good intermediate pass, it's kind of been debunked by, let me see if I can show it real quick. Because if you just erase the Tennessee game and you look to what he's been able to do in terms of passing, it's actually been pretty impressive compared to a bunch of different quarterbacks. So I'm going to put this on the screen and then I'm going to show everybody what I'm talking about. And you can compare this against any other quarterback in the country, and you'd be pretty surprised on how well Jalen Milroe fares compared to everybody else. I'm serious. So let me walk you through it. To the outside left, and these are passes over 20 yards. It's 2 of 6, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Between the numbers, over 20 yards. These are those deep balls, right? These are like those haymakers that are just absolutely touchdowns, right? between the numbers 4 of 6. So you're like, okay, the deep ball. 7 to 17. That number's been climbing a little bit in terms of the inaccuracy. He was 0 for 6 against Tennessee on the season, 7 to 17, 352, 4 touchdowns. Still an NFL rating of 198, right? But when you look to intermediate, this is where we start looking at the numbers, right? So 20 underneath, for whatever reason, this under 20 into the outside left, that's where he struggles. He's only 30%, right? 3 of 10, 38 yards. That's an area of concern. But other than that, I mean, he's super accurate across the middle. So he's 18 to 24, 343, 6 of 9. That 18 to 24, that's where he's thrown 2 interceptions. And then underneath that, 16 to 17, God, that's almost perfect. 27 to 34, 315, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then 10 of 14. So comparatively, if you were to bring this up and do some real detail against other quarterbacks across the country, these numbers are really, really good. And specifically an area where he's improved at. So, and I do get what you're saying about Michael Penix. It seemed like for Michael Penix in that offense, there was a much more, they had a very fluid approach where it seems like Alabama's kind of up and down. And I wonder if that's not necessarily like, I'm sure a lot of it is on Milroe in the game against Tennessee and the schematics, but I'm starting to now wonder, and I don't know if I'm like going to like different theories, and I've already said my thing about Milroe. I feel he's like in a really big slump right now. But like, how much was this on Ryan Grubb, right?
True.
Right? Like, because now we're like, when Ryan Grubb left, everyone was like, don't worry, it's Coach Kalen DeBoer's offense. Well, is it? You know, I mean, so unless he starts calling the offensive plays, well, I guess we'll never know. But it did seem like watching that Washington offense, and I watched them, you know, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times, like in real time last year. It seems like they were just absolutely rolling. Whereas this offense seems kind of like up and down, and they rely so much on big plays. Leonard, I see your comment inside the comment box. I appreciate it. What else you got, Joe?
No, that was it, man. I just wanted to take on that, man.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in from Lincoln, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Joe with the call from Lincoln. 936, you're up next. Hey, 936, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Yo, Kyle, this T-Rich, Terrence Richardson up in Lufkin, Texas. How you doing? I ain't called in a minute.
Hey, what's up,
But
T-Rich?
I've been watching you.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in from Lufkin, man.
To me personally, I got a few things I just want to, kind of chime in on.
Yeah.
I feel like at Washington, man, they had those 3 stars, but they was able to get it done. We have 4 and 5 stars, so I don't think it should be a learning curve with 4 and 5 stars. Y'all coming from, 6, 7, 8 schools, the schematics should be somewhat similar. So I don't think it's a learning curve. I think it's just the whole, what Kalen DeBoer said, nobody got that dog mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not I. I mean, everything is about I, and it's not about we. Mm-hmm. The only emotion I've seen came from Malachi, and he kind of got, criticized and scrutinized for it, but he was playing with emotion because he knew the Bama standard. Nobody's playing with that dog mentality at Alabama. The D-line, I feel like, man, we need Bo Davis back bad. Defense, the defense, I feel like we need Pruitt. Like, man, you telling me we got all these athletes and we barely blitzing? You supposed to be putting the guys in position where they're making plays. Those guys wouldn't have went public. They wouldn't have went public saying that, hey, get the calls in faster if they was coming in faster. I mean, you got to look at that. It's easy to say certain things is finite, but what are you actually putting them in? He said he was dumbing things down for them, right? Not as complicated. So why aren't they in a position where they may play? And personally, I feel like last week's game, they had a good game on defense. They did pretty good. We was winning the whole game, but it's Jalen Milroe's strong suit is his legs. I don't feel like he need to be throwing the ball 45 times a game. That's when you take him out of his element. We have the number 1 and the number 2 running back we can't run the ball. That needs to be checked. Nobody has the dog mentality. And then I just saw another thing I wanted to touch bases on. I just saw they said Kane Womack is up for some vacancy with head coaching jobs already, so because his daddy coached at Southern Miss, and they the coach at Southern Miss is on the hot seat. So Is it? I mean, evidently, you know, if they bringing up his name already, he knows it's something that he's lacking as a DC. I don't see that aggression from Kane Womack. I feel like if that's the case, you know, I know that the guy left Alabama to go coach the same position at Georgia. Man, we should have got him. We would have had more emotion out of players. We would have had a coach in there that actually knew the nuances of, hey, bringing that dog mentality, what it takes. And we don't, that's another thing. It's one thing to not have those players that have that dog mentality, but those coaches. Let's go back and hire Scott Cochran. Let's go back and get Bo Davis. Let's go back and get Jeremy Pruitt. We need those coaches that bring that energy of knowing what it takes to play up to the Alabama standard. Mm-hmm. We don't have that. We don't. We don't have that. You know, Coach Mo is about the only one I see that, you know, coach with a little bit of intensity. Yeah. I see a little bit here and there with Kane Womack, but it's like, you know, we're missing something. How do we get that dog mentality back on the defensive side? How do we get that dog mentality back in Alabama? Mm-hmm. We don't have that. And I understand it's the new wave and all of this. Man, Coach Saban did things away for a reason. Yep. When you start making things public within the system, it takes the attention to something else. So now, you got these guys, and there's nothing against them. I love these guys. They're very talented. But this new wave crap, man, they just take it from what you need to be honing in on. Schoolwork and playing football. How's that going to help you produce on the field? That's you know, that's why Coach Saban had things so structured in a way of, hey, man, look, we ain't making public. You don't need to go do this. You don't need to go talk to that, man. You got friends. Like, come on, man, look at what's going on. Mm-hmm. That transition's over. Coach Saban, if you was a certain sophomore or freshman or something, you didn't really talk to the public. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need people that's been here. Hey, they mature. They know what to say. Cool. We in and out. Won't need all this extra limelight attention. Mm-hmm. So those were some of the things that I kind of observed. We don't have that dog mentality. It's nothing against Freddie Roach. I feel like Freddie Roach will be better coaching his natural position, which is the linebackers. Mm. But we need to recruit that D-line like no other this year. I like the guy we just pulled up out of the recruiting class, you know, that was committed to Oklahoma. I like him. I think he's going to do something. We need people with dog mentality. Mm. And like I said, I mean, it seems like sometimes Coach Caden DeBoer is an awesome coach. I mean, we see what he's done everywhere he's been, you know. So, but I do kind of see it sometimes when it's like, dang, man, hey, it's the SEC. You got to run the ball. Mm. You can't throw the ball. I mean, and it's nothing against the conference that Washington is in. But when you look at those games from the teams like Washington and Washington State, man, you have scores that are 45-44, 53-38. That means nobody's playing defense. So you can throw the ball. This is the SEC. Everybody is good.
Yep.
You can't do that. You got to get the ball. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like I said, Jalen Milroe, keep balling, keep grinding. I just don't think that he needs to be throwing the ball 25 times in the first half and 25. Let him use his legs. Then we got like 3 or 4. We have a stable of running backs. Give those boys the ball. The guy that played for Washington, I'm from Mississippi. I played against Greenville St. Joe. That Dillon guy, he was a 2 or 3 star athlete. So he was able to grind it out at Washington running the ball like that with over 1,000 yards. Man, you got 5 stars here. Mm. Use those running backs, man. Like, hey, Coach Saban, I don't care if those linemen tired, man. Hey, we're running the ball. What we going to do? We're going to run the ball. We going to run the ball. Yep. So that means that lets you know if we running the ball, we know where our weak points at. Because you're going to know who coming off the ball or not as far as the offensive line. Run the ball. Like, man, when we played Georgia, hey, Jalen Milroe used his legs and we showed out there first. And that's another thing. When we do get up like that, why take your foot off the gas? It's like Sheridan. He when it's good, it's good. But then, okay, well, I'm finna go do this. No, man, hey, let's keep doing what we're doing. But like Coach Saban said, make them quit.
Yep.
Okay, you know what we're doing, stop me. We don't have that. Like I said, I don't feel like we have the coaches that plays with the fire and intensity. Oh, I love the wide receiver coach. Him and Mo. I love him and Mo. Those they play with those guys coach with passion.
Yep.
But I feel like we need to get those Alabama players back. You know, although, hey man, come on man. I feel like a celebrity guest speaker should be Coach Saban. I feel like before Tennessee game, Coach Saban should have been a celebrity guest speaker that talked. Come on, why not? Coach Saban, hey, I'm just a fan. Coach Saban seen it before it happened. Everybody, NIL ran Coach Saban. No, Coach Saban seen it before it happened. It's just like raising a child. If you don't have structure, what happens to that child when he gets older? He go to straying off and doing things he don't want. If you don't have structure in your facility, we publicizing everything, hey, that puts a lot of attention on this right here, and that means you're not doing what? You're not focusing on playing football. Coach Saban didn't have his freshmen out doing podcasts and stuff like that, man. He didn't have them up here talking to the media. It's cool. It's good. Like I said, it's new. It's different. But until it starts translating on the field, I don't think they need to be. Coach Saban, he set the blueprint. He set the standard. That won't ever be replicated. The only person that's replicating what Coach Saban is to the fullest is Kirby Smart. Sark he's kind of adopted, but hey, before Sark came into the Coach Saban tree, yes, he was an excellent offensive play caller, but his teams didn't play defense. Now he got the players, the coaches in that he knows going, hey, we got to make them competitive. What happened when Bo Davis was at Texas Longhorns and they lost that game that bad? Those guys got on that bus and they was talking about what they going to do with strip clubs they was going to go to, and Bo Davis got up there and got on their ass. Hey, you worried about this and that, but you ain't coming off the ball. You just got your ass whooped on the D-line. I feel like we getting whooped because we don't have that intensity. Freddie Roach is a good coach, but he's better suited coaching his natural position. Jalen Milroe is better when you let him be an athlete. You're trying to get him to throw the ball around 45 times. This is the SEC. Everybody run the 4-5, 4-4, especially on the D-line. It's not Washington. You can't put up 60 and 70 points like that on weekends. Man, this is the SEC. Everybody going to bring it. Look at what happened to us with Vanderbilt. Even Vanderbilt is good. Like Mike McCourt, man, we got beat by lawyers and accountants. Those guys they put that wood on us. And they talk noise to us. We never had a Bama come out there and then, man, Tony Brown, Ryan Anderson, Jerry Reed, Ashawn Robin, Reggie Ragland, Reuben Foster. People feared Reuben Foster. People feared. We don't have that at linebacker. I feel like Deontay Lawson, he should be more. Put him at edge rushing. Campbell is doing good at edge, but Campbell is more athletic. He's better in coverage than Deontay Lawson. We need Jefferson and Campbell in that inside linebacker. Hey, let's let Lawson do an edge rush. Not saying he's not capable, but in coverage he's not that good.
Hey T Rich, I gotta move on, T Rich, but I appreciate the call, man. I always love when you call in from Lufkin, man.
Roll Tide, man. I love your show,
right,
man.
Thank you, brother. All right, take it easy. All right, my boy T Rich out in Lufkin. Hey, if I didn't get to your call today, remember tomorrow I have a score prediction show, and I start that pretty much immediately. I'll fly through a couple things in the morning time, and then we'll get right to our score prediction show. I appreciate you guys calling in and joining me today on Bama Football on YouTube. Remember, we have an active Facebook channel as well, Alabama Crimson Tide on Facebook. And I saw people talking about other content creators and other Alabama, channels, whatever. Yeah, support everybody. I know a lot of the people that are out there doing an amazing job, whether they have a small site, whether they have a big YouTube channel, part of a company or independent, support them all. Support your team, support your players. I appreciate you guys for supporting me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. If you super chatted today, thank you very much. If you called in, I appreciate all the dialogue. My goal is to treat everybody definitely with respect respect, listen to all the opinions. So whether you called in from Lufkin, Texas, Seattle, Washington today, up in Oregon, from Lincoln, Alabama, I appreciate you guys all, and thank you very much for supporting me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you once again. Follow us also on Apple, Spotify podcasts, and I'll catch up with you soon, or as news happens, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk soon. See ya.